We appreciate your allowing us to take your time this evening. We want to respect your time, and so we're going to follow the agenda that was sent out to you. As you have input about how to make these meetings even more fruitful and more beneficial to you, please let us know. Just send us an email, and we'll take into consideration all of your input. I have 4 items tonight as we begin. The first is donations. We are behind where we were last year at this point in time in the year. And so if you could remind your clubs to send in money routinely. A lot of clubs throughout our zones like to hold on to money until the last day of June. And so please remind them. We would really like for them to send routinely donations to CART. And if you could remind them that we are really interested in them, in the treasurers of the clubs using our portal instead of sending us paper checks. That'd be great. Second item, CART Fund recurring donors. We want to encourage that. We have only 44 at this point. Our goal is 100 by the end of the year, end of the calendar year. So if you're not a recurring donor, we'd like you to investigate that, and we'd like you to promote that within your clubs. It's an opportunity to go see what the portal is all about. And it's easy and very efficient. And so if you could do that for us, that'd be wonderful. Item number 3, we recently had a terrific lunch and learn. 80 folks gathered, and Tiffany's going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit. What I want to say to you is we're attempting to provide you with opportunities to educate yourself about Alzheimer's and about the CART Fund. And we would dearly love for you to invite people from your district to join us in those lunch and learns. I believe the one last week was wonderful, had lots of good information. The one on the 14th will be great too. So just invite folks. And if you have suggestions, again, about anything we can do to help you become educated about Alzheimer's or the CART Fund, please just send us an email and we'll try to incorporate that. Last item is our annual meeting. We have heard from a number of you asking why in the world we continue to have the annual meeting in Columbia, South Carolina. Most of those questions had to do with why don't we have it somewhere else, or why don't we have it in this state or that state? We want to make sure you know that we heard you, and we're open to the idea of moving the annual meeting. In fact, we're going to invite you as district chairs to propose where the annual meeting will be held. And Tiffany's going to send out to you in the next few days a request for proposal. And we want you to consider that and let us know where you think the meeting should be and propose a site for that meeting. There are a lot of criteria that will come with the proposal form that we're going to send you. And we want you to consider all the criteria and give us your very best proposal so that we can consider every single one you submit. But we are open to hearing from you and hearing your suggestions. We're not locked into Columbia, South Carolina, but we want to hear from you as to why we ought to move it. And so with that, we'll turn it over to Tiffany.
All right, guys. So we have had a lot going on behind the scenes that we hope and we look forward to sharing all of it with you when we can. But just as an FYI, I wanted to give you a couple of quick updates. We are about to embark a huge branding and imaging campaign for CART to help us identify who we are, what we do, and how we do it. So you're going to be hearing more about that in the next few months. That will include everything from an updated website to a new logo, to new collateral materials, to new pins, a little bit of everything. So we're very excited about that, and we look forward to sharing that with you when we can. So I wanted to just give you that heads up that right now, again, if you need buckets, you can get those from Johnny. And if you need to order the little individual cups, you can pay for those from your club or district, and you can order those from Rich Harrison, who is on the call. And then if you need pins, we'll use up the supply that we have, but we are going to have new ones available before too much longer. The newsletter is still going out. Norm and I were talking about that earlier for those who did not hear. While I'm not physically able to add the sign up sheet back to our current website until we get the website switched over. If you have people who want to join the newsletter list, if you just send me their email, I will be happy to add them manually. I've been doing that for about 2 months now since we haven't had access to that part of our website, and I'm happy to continue to do that. That e-news list is a little over 500 people right now, but when you think about the quantity of Rotarians and non-Rotarians that we have, that list could actually be quite larger. So we're going to import that into DACDB when we do make the switch over by the end of October. That is our end date to have the new website. At the very latest will be the end of October. So we look forward to sharing that with you very soon as well. Rod mentioned the Lunch and Learn last week. It was a great turnout. Lots of folks have been emailing with comments from the videos. They've been sharing it. It is on our YouTube channel. If you've not seen it, make sure you go subscribe to that channel. Tell people if they subscribe to the channel, they'll be notified when there are new videos available. The next one again is next week with Dr. Ben Barr from UNC Pembroke, and many of you have heard him speak before. He is excellent, and I'm certain that he's going to do a great job for us. That will be next Wednesday, September the 14th from noon to 1. And we will follow the exact same format that we did last week with the majority of the time for his presentation, and then hopefully about half an hour for you guys to ask questions. And then as soon as I can download it, edit it, upload it back to YouTube, then we have it available for you to share. We also have some other events coming up. There will be another Lunch and Learn, which I might add, thanks to Dr. Carl Harrop, is now going to be called Lunch a la Carte. He has a brand new marketing campaign that he's helping us with, apparently. But we were excited. We are changing the name of that. So you'll see some new visual identities coming and graphics coming out on that in the near future as well. But the one for October is going to be Dr. Alan Levy from Emory University, and they are still trying to nail down the exact date. Wednesdays do not work for him, so it will not be a Wednesday, which is what August and September have been. For our district chairs meeting, I want to make sure you have these dates on your calendar. Again, they are all in the DACDB calendar. If you will go to DACDB, click on calendar, and make sure you have multi-district events selected, then you will see anything that we host is in there. And we always have this exact same Zoom link listed in the event, and it's the same link that we always use, so you don't have to try to remember it if you would like to just save one email. But also, if you go back to the DACDB calendar on the day of the event and click on the event, there's one click that says Zoom link, and if you click on that, it'll take you straight in. These district chairs meetings are scheduled again. The next one after tonight will be October the 18th, when we will go back to a Tuesday night. And then in November, we're going to go back to a Wednesday night. We're trying to make this as flexible as possible for folks who have different club meetings. And so in November, it will be November the 9th. So that date will be added to the DACDB calendar this evening. And so please make sure that you mark those on your calendar as well. Additionally, we will be participating in our Zones 33 and 34 Impact Summit that will be going on in Baltimore. This is it's like a mega conference. Many of you have been to your district conference. This is a conference for the two zones paired, and it's for past and future district governors. And there's about 420 right now registered for the one in Baltimore, and we will have a presence in the House of Friendship. I should also mention that our secretary for CART is Janice Wilkins. Her husband and her, Alex and Janice, are sponsors of the event, and they've donated their ad space in the program book to CART. So we were able to put an ad in the program booklet, and we will have a presence in both the House of Friendship and in the virtual House of Friendship. And I'm on that marketing team, so I'm going to make sure that we have a really good presence there. But if you are one of the past district governors or future governors that is planning to be in Baltimore and you would like to volunteer at our booth, please let me know. I have a link to a Sign Up Genius form, and we would love to have you come out and volunteer an hour for us if you're able. I'll be there on a couple of different topics. Okay, so the other thing I was going to mention is we've also been working behind the scenes doing a lot of grant requests, and some funding opportunities, some very unique funding opportunities that we're excited about. And some of them we've been getting really great news on, but we're not allowed to share the news yet. So you'll be hearing more about that in the months to come as well. But if you are aware of a family foundation or a private foundation or a corporate sponsor that you think has an interest in Alzheimer's and you would like for me to make an ask or do a reach out to someone to talk to them or put a proposal together, please let me know. Sometimes these happen with serendipity where someone says, I did a Reddit search and your organization came up. And sometimes it's friends and family members of Rotarians who say, we would like to see if you would be eligible and could meet the criteria for my organization's contributions. So we're working on those. We've submitted 4 in the last 2 weeks that we're very excited about. So we'll be sharing that with you in the months to come. All right. So that is what I have going on. There's just want to remind you also about the social media. If you will tag CART on anything that you post on social media so that we can share it to the CART page. If we don't know what you're doing, we can't share it. So we need your information for the newsletter and for our social media accounts. Now, I'm really excited about tonight's session because we have a very special guest that has joined us. I know that many of you recognize her and know her. She is a past district governor ×2 because she was crazy enough to do this twice. But she is from upstate South Carolina in Anderson, South Carolina, and past Governor Carol Burdette has long been a great supporter of this organization. And she brings a very unique perspective as a past district governor who really made CART a priority. And I thought that it might be helpful for some of you who are either new district chairs or perhaps district chairs whose district governors don't always buy into what we are doing. This might be a good opportunity for you to hear from someone who did this experience more than once, and made a huge impact in her district. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have Carol to speak to us for a little while, and then we're going to move on with our agenda. And then she is going to host one of our breakout rooms. So if you have specific questions for her, or if you're a sitting or a past or future district governor and you want to talk to her about how you can make this more successful in your district, we hope that you'll want to join Carol's breakout room. And we'll talk a little bit more about breakout rooms afterwards. But at this point, I'm going to turn it over to past district governor Carol Burdette, who's going to make a brief presentation to us. Carol, we're so excited you're here.
Well, I'm extremely excited as well. And Tiffany, thank you so much. It is a real pleasure to be with all of you. And I will tell you that I was governor in our district in 2008, 2009, and I supported CART, but something life-changing happened to me just before I was governor the second time. I had just found out in late 2016 that our governor that was in line was not going to be able to fulfill her duties due to some personal issues with her husband's health. And so it wasn't that much longer. I went to Atlanta for the international convention. But it just so happened that the day that I was going to Atlanta, I attended the funeral of my childhood and teenage best friend. And this particular person, I tell people it's hard to say this about anyone, but in her short life of 58 years, I never heard one person say a negative word about her. She was precious. And she suffered for 10 years with a severe dementia, Alzheimer's. It started at age 48. And it was so sad. The last time I saw her, I went to her home, and growing up and into her 20s, she was always she was chubby. I wouldn't say she was fat, but she was a cute chubby. And when I went to see her, she was in a size 4 pair of jeans that were too large for her. She had been struggling so, and it was life-changing for me to see her. But a few months later, when I was at the CART annual meeting, I looked over at our CART chair and I said, why don't we raise $100,000 next year for CART? And I kind of figured that he would look at me, roll his eyes, and think I had flipped my lid, because for the entire time our district has been doing CART, we were really averaged about 50,000. So we were talking about doubling our amount for cart. But he said, let's do it. So I began to think about how to use this heartbreaking personal experience to do something good, because my friend Fonda would have loved that. And so as I went to visit every club, I would weave her story into my official presentation. And I would talk about the lovely, talented person that she was, because she played the piano, never took a music lesson in her life, and could play anything she sat down to play. Beautiful through and through. But as she began to have struggles, one of the first things her husband noticed was that she would have a glass and not understand how to get the ice out of the ice maker. And it progressively got worse and worse and worse, to the point where they had to feed her and bathe her and all those things that took every bit of her human dignity away. So as I went around, I'm one of those people, I'm never going to ask you to do anything that I haven't done or will not do. And so I said to our Rotarians around the district, will you join me in being a cart champion? And what that meant was I'd written my check for $1,000, and I was asking them to write their check in honor or in memory of a loved one or friend. And we began to get some momentum, but I went to visit one of our smallest clubs, and it was early on in the year. And as I was leaving that club meeting that day, a gentleman walked me to the car, and he said, I want to tell you something. He said, I don't ever make anything easy, so I'm not going to make this easy on you. He said, but I will give you a dollar for dollar every dollar you raise over the $100,000 mark, up to $25,000. Well, immediately I knew if we raised 125,000, we were going to have 150,000, and we never let up. We talked about cart, and some people said, oh my goodness, you're going to take so much money away from the Rotary Foundation this year because you're all out about cart. And I go, no, we're not. And we didn't. We actually raised more for the Rotary Foundation than we'd ever raised before. And we raised the most for cart we'd ever raised, because Bill Shillito is my witness. At our district conference, we did exactly what I said. We were ready to give him a big check. And I don't mean that as in just that the check was big, but the amount was big. But I'd also told the clubs as I went around that the club that raised the most dollars and the club that raised the most per capita would get to cut my hair off to 1/8 of an inch at the district conference. Now, to somebody like Norm, it wouldn't really matter, but I had a lot of hair. I'd been growing my hair. So we get to the district conference, and I had bunches of hair. And the Fort Mill Rotary Club actually had done both. They had raised the most cash, and they were the most per capita. So about 3 or 4 of their members got up on the stage with me. I had my cape on, and they started buzzing off my hair down to 1/8 of an inch. And I just looked at them and I said, it will grow back. And I knew that I had done that for such a good reason. And I could feel that my friend was there right beside me, knowing that I had done this because I don't want anyone else to go through what she went through. And so when it was all said and done, if you can believe it or not, that year our district raised $176,000 for cart. It's one of the things, if you ask me about my accomplishments, it would be one of those things that's really toward the top of the list, because it was so important. But since that time, more recently, my next door neighbor, the kindest, sweetest man you would ever want to meet, began to become very combative. And it was because he was in the stages of Alzheimer's, and it got worse very quickly, so quickly that his wife was going to have to put him in a home because she could not handle him. And he passed away the week that they were to get his space ready in the home where he was going to have to go. But most recently, my aunt, who is 80, she is my mother's only sister. She is now has serious Alzheimer's. And although my mother passed away 48 years ago, she doesn't remember that. And she's constantly asking, can my mother come see her? Can Shelby come see me? I miss her. Can't she come see me? And she can't understand that my mother is no longer with us. So for me, Alzheimer's is very personal. And when you can say something like, with CART, 100% goes to what you want to do, and that is for us to help find a cure for Alzheimer's. It means a great deal. And we all have stories like I've shared with you this evening. We know people. And the thing about it is, we want those people to be with us until they're not. But with Alzheimer's, they leave us a lot sooner than when they leave this earth. So we must keep up the fight, and we must work harder and harder and harder to make sure that we find a way that allows us to be able to know, how do we prevent this, and how in the world do we help find the cure to keep people from suffering the way my friends and my aunt have done. I appreciate all that you're doing. I do hope that district governors will find the way to realize that this is not a competition with anything else we do. It is just one more thing that Rotarians do that make the hugest difference in our world today. Thank you for having me. And again, I'll look forward to the breakout.
Thank you, Carol. I think that Carol has so many messages for us. It is the strength of getting your district governor line involved and buy-in, if you will, but also the fact that you should be thinking about your personal story or the story of someone you know that you can share. And also that critical point of finding someone, and maybe they find you, who's willing to make a match of what you raise. And all of those are really great points of things that could really make a big impact in your districts and your district's fundraising in the matter of just 1 year. And so, as Carol said, Carol, thank you so much for sharing your personal story. Last month, you may recall that one of the breakout sessions each month, which is called Fundraising Idea of the Month, last month, I believe, was Randy. Randy, was that last month? And she talked to you guys about the emails that she sends out monthly to people in her district through PMail, through DACDB. And so we have compiled an entire year's worth of emails from Randy and put them into one document, one Word document for you. It's about 8 or 9 pages long. So I'm going to be sending that out to it's very long, but it's great. It is excellent. And so I'm going to be sending that out to you guys next week with the link to this video and the registration as well for the next meeting. And also with the document that Rod mentioned earlier about the opportunity to host the annual meeting next year. I want you to think of that as a district conference that would be held in your district, but people would be coming from potentially 31 districts. And so it will require a lot of work. And when people ask, why do we have it in Columbia? It's because so many of us live close enough that we can manage that. But if you can put a team together that's willing to do some of that work, we'll be looking at those proposals. So you'll get all of that from me in an email next week. We have mentioned several times that we are I apologize, y'all, for my eye. I told y'all I have an eye infection. I know it's horrible to look at. Here you go. So I have told you guys that we are working on an innovative cause-based club for Alzheimer's that would support CART. I want to remind you that CART is not an official Rotary partner. We are a separate 501c3 nonprofit organization. We happen to work with a lot of Rotary clubs and a lot of Rotary districts, both in our zone and out. But that being said, this is an opportunity for us to introduce more people who are non-Rotarians to CART, but it's also an opportunity to introduce people who are interested in finding a cure for Alzheimer's to Rotary. So what we are doing is utilizing the Lunch and Learn, Lunch a la Carte series as the introduction to non-Rotarians for an opportunity to tell them a little bit about what CART is doing. And we're going to use that database to help continue to grow so that we can develop a cause-based Rotary club. So if you know of people who have perhaps left your club or your district in the last several years or recently that might be interested in rejoining an online Rotary club that is specifically cause-based for Alzheimer's research, please share their information with me and I'll be happy to add them to the list. I'll be happy to send them information. Rotary's new rules, if you will, say that a club has to have 2 gatherings per month, not meetings, but gatherings. So one could be a service project, one can be a meeting, they could be online, they can be in person. There's so many options there. So we are excited to be able to offer that as an additional way to support Rotary, but also to support CART. I can't read my notes now through those glasses. So, all right, we are going to, our next speaker, every month, if you'll recall, this new format seems to be working really well where we spotlight just a couple of folks every month and we give them a lot of time to really discuss it. And then we go into our breakout sessions. So tonight, I know that many of you have had a lot of questions about a fundraiser that Norm does in his district. And last month, I think we heard from somebody else who had a fundraiser going in their district. So if you have one, please make sure we're aware of it so we can share it in this format as well. But Norm is going to spend the next 5 minutes giving us an update on what's going on for Cars for CART and where that stands and how you can support him if you are interested in it. Norm?
Last week I had a district meeting where all of the governors and her staff were on it. And one of the ladies on the call said, I don't think people are buying tickets because you failed the first 2 times that you had your contest. And I said, well, you're right. I did. First contest, we tried to sell 1,600 tickets. It was too grandiose. We sold 351. When I did a 50-50 drawing, I went out to all the people and said, you can have your money back if you want. 11 of them took their money back. And so we had $34,000. Now, 17,000 of that was to a lady in Luther's district. And the other 17,000 went to CART or to TRAC, and that paid for 17,000 of the $22,000 for the donor portal. So I don't look at that as being a failure. We paid for a lot of everybody's using the donor portal now. It's one of the best inventions we've had in a long time. And I don't look at that as failure. I give money to St. Jude's Hospital. When St. Jude opened up, they in 62, they were saving 1 child out of 5. Now they're saving 4 children out of 5. But they still I don't think they think it's a failure and they should stop. So I'm not going to stop this. I think that TRAC needs this money. We're doing a lot of things to get money on the side to make sure that we live by what Roger Ackerman wanted. And maybe someday we'll have to go a little bit deeper. But right now I'm working hard. We've sold 157 tickets. And the beauty of this is Eldon is on the call, and I'm not going to try to steal your thunder, Eldon, but he's that one district, 6960. Eldon has sold 37 tickets to 3 clubs. One gentleman bought 20 tickets. And when Eldon told me about that gentleman, if he wins, he doesn't want the cars or the money. He's going to give everything back to CART. I just got another check for 5 tickets from the Little River Club that's buying all 5 tickets for their club. If they win, they're going to take the cash. So I need your help. I think that now that I put credit cards and electronic checks on the contest. And I just signed a new agreement with a credit card company that's going to be $3 for a credit card and $1 for an e-check, which is probably the least expensive I could find. But we're a quarter of the way there. And I would love to give these cars or the money to somebody in your district, but I need your help. So I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. And Eldon's keeping me real busy. And I hope he keeps me busy from here on out, because it looks like he might buy all 500 tickets in his one district. So anybody have any questions about it? You're going to be getting a new flyer.
Norm Sheldon, I just want to say, to me, this raffle is very easy to sell. I went to the Rotary downtown club, and I thought maybe I'd get 5 that would buy the tickets. And I said, the first 5, I'll match that. Immediately 8 hands went up. So now I'm giving $800. I haven't given you that yet, Norm, but I will. So it's easy. It's people like the idea of winning money. And when you can win $20,000 with one ticket, that's a pretty good idea. And then on top of that, if you have a passion for cart, see where that money is going to go. It's wonderful. Norm, you're doing a good job. I'm just don't want to pick on you. You're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Norm. It is a great fundraiser, and we're very appreciative of all that Norm does. I know lots of you have great fundraisers too. And again, if you'll let me know what those are and keep us updated. I know last month we heard from Susan about her event. Tonight's breakout room for fundraising idea of the month is a really unique one. Linda Johnson is going to be leading that, and she is going to talk to you guys about how to effectively run a Facebook fundraiser. It's very simple and easy, and they do almost all the work for you. But Linda has been very successful, and I don't want to steal her thunder either, but because some of you are going to go to different breakout rooms, I do want to tell you that her latest one, in honor of her 65th birthday, right, Linda? She said that she would raise, if she could raise on Facebook $3,250, she would match it. And I will tell you guys that she made a contribution last week to CART of $3,250. And so she is an incredible volunteer for us, and we are very grateful. Michelle Garashi-Ellick is going to manage another breakout room. She is our resident administrator and help desk for our online donor portal. And I know a lot of you have some questions. One of the things that we have noticed is that you may want to learn from Michelle, even if you don't make it into her session tonight. You might want to schedule some time with her afterwards. There are some reports that you should be running monthly that will give you information on what's going on in your district. And if you aren't looking at those regularly, you may miss some things that either get attributed and shouldn't, or things that are not being attributed to your district and should. So you definitely want to talk to Michelle about that, about some of the reports that you can pull monthly to see what's going on in your district. So I know we had 3 really great breakout sessions, and I know lots of folks have learned so much from our presenters this evening. This is your opportunity to share with us your biggest takeaway or your aha moment, if you will, from tonight. Who would like to share?
Well, hey, this is Rashika. I'll speak up on my end. I was in the breakout room with Carol, and she mentioned the courage to tell your story, because sometimes there is a conflict in leadership between, or a difference of opinion about CART and giving to the foundation. But if you're passionate, having the courage to go forward. And another thing I heard from my group that I believe anyway is there's enough kindness and love from Rotarians to go around. You don't have to pick one, you can do both. So just the courage to stand on your story is what I got from our group.
That's excellent. Thank you. Michelle, was there anything from your group that maybe you, someone asked a question that you think you should share with everyone quickly as we wrap up?
No, we really just went over that anybody could make a donation from anywhere, and they don't have to be a Rotarian to make a donation. And we talked a little bit about all the reports and
Great. So you guys make sure to reach out to Michelle privately if you need some help pulling those reports, because it is something that we should probably be looking at monthly.
I didn't want to say anything about Linda. Well, we talked about sending things out to, sharing them with groups and pages that your groups, like I said, I'm a group with 10,000 Marines and I share a lot with them. But I wanted to also get back what Bill talked about. We were talking about the golden buckets, and I wanted to tell all the cart chairs, come up with something that your clubs can compete for. They love to compete with each other. They love to beat each other. The 5 clubs in my district will fight over a cupcake. So make them compete. Find something. Thank you.
Thank you. But we're going to make that a topic in the future as well, because there are so many great competitions that go on out there. We are going to say thank you again for joining us tonight. A special thank you to Carol Burdette, because this was incredible. It was exactly what all of us needed to hear and be reminded. Linda, you have something to add?
Yes, I do. On the link issue, can we not right click on that and add that to our desktop, since it's the same link every time? And that way you wouldn't even have to worry about trying to find an email. You'd have it on your desktop.
That's an excellent idea. Folks would like to do that. If you use WhatsApp, we can send it in WhatsApp and you can put that on your desktop as well. There are lots of ways to do it. I will continue to send out the emails and continue to keep the registration link in the DACDB calendar. Just please make sure you have multi-district events selected, and then it's one click, you'll be able to get in. I will continue to have the notifications set up so that you get an email when you register, unless you register the day of, then you will not get also an email the day before, which is how it is automatically set up. And then for our lunch and learns, we do ask that folks, lunch a la carte, sorry, we do ask that folks also register for that, not only so that they get those emails, but so we can capture their email addresses as well, especially as we continue to invite non-Rotarians. And then we have that notification set up to automatically send an email 3 days afterwards to anyone who registered with the link to the video so they can watch it on YouTube and they can share it. And this actually works well because for folks who register, but then something happens and they're not able to attend, even if they registered, they will get that email 3 days afterwards with the link to the video. So for folks who maybe missed it, they'll still get the link and be reminded of it. But you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel to get that as well. We are so grateful that all of you donate your time and talents to this organization. A lot of work goes on behind the scenes from board members, from district chairs, from regional chairs to district governor lines to everyone. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to work with you. And we thank you for always remembering the CART Fund in your online fundraising, in your presentations, and we are all here to help. Should you need a presentation in your club, there's a wealth of folks who are able to do that, and we appreciate you guys joining us again tonight. We'll see you soon.